Yo, how's it going everyone? This is Mitchellmander here and welcome to another review of the Pokemon Journey series. We're going to be covering episode 86 in today's review, and it's part 2 of Ash vs. B round 3, and as you can tell by the title of this video, our boy Ash finally did it. He lost the first time, he fought to a draw the second time, and in the third battle, he's finally victorious. It really is third time's the charm, I guess in Ash's case here. Could have probably used this luck back in X and Y against a certain edgy trainer in his Mega Charizard X. But, you know, we don't talk about those days anymore. We don't talk about him anymore. But, yep. Anyways, besides Ash actually winning finally against B, how was the episode overall? Well, before I get into that, you know the drill, guys. If you're new to the channel, you like this type of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Be pretty awesome if you would do that. But anyways, let's talk about this episode. Now, picking up from where we left off with last week's episode, Lucario and Machamp are facing off, and it seems like Lucario is doing a little bit better now, and actually lands a direct hit right on Machamp's face. Does quite a bit of damage here, but Ash ends up recalling Lucario, brings out Sirfetch'd, and Sirfetch'd does kind of decently and actually manages to land an attack on Machamp as well. So it seems like Machamp is actually taking quite a bit of damage here. And that's when B decides to recall Machamp and take out Hawlucha. Now, is Sirfetch'd finally going to get its revenge on Hawlucha when it defeated it as a Farfetch'd? Is it finally Sirfetch'd's time to shine in a hyperclass battle in the Pokemon World Championships? Unfortunately, no, because Sirfetch'd takes an L. I will say he did alright throughout this battle, but the fact of the matter is, he unfortunately took an L here. He didn't get a single win. Basically, Sirfetch'd clashed with Hawlucha using Brave Bird, and Sirfetch'd using Night Slash. Unfortunately, Brave Bird overpowered Night Slash and KO'd Sirfetch'd. So, Hawlucha wins. But don't worry, Sirfetch'd. Pikachu's got your back. He's your bro. He'll totally avenge you. So I think it's pretty neat what Ash does here. So B is about to use Brave Bird on Pikachu over here because Ash has Pikachu use Iron Tail on the ground, so Pikachu's basically sticking its tail on the ground and it's sticking itself up in the air. Kind of reminds me of a certain scene from back in the original series where Pikachu was facing out against Raichu and was kind of doing something similar, or at least had a similar look where Pikachu was standing on his tail, but different circumstances, and I'm kind of getting off track here. But anyways, so Pikachu's stuck on the ground, and so B uses this opportunity to command Hawlucha to use Brave Bird to get a direct hit on Pikachu, which would take Pikachu out, but since Pikachu did this, Ash commands Pikachu to use Quick Attack. Obviously, it can't move because its tail's stuck on the ground, so it creates some friction here. And it's interesting because when Brave Bird lands, it does damage to Pikachu, but in return it does damage to Hawlucha, and actually, I guess, minimize the damage of Brave Bird on Pikachu. Still took damage, but it weakened Hawlucha, and then Pikachu promptly defeated it. So B incurs her first loss in the battle, so they're back down to 2 versus 2. Now B in response brings out Octolock again, and for some reason Ash has Pikachu's Quick Attack on Octolock, which immediately grabs Pikachu. Ash tries to get Pikachu to relax because it can't use Thunderbolt that's basically being negated by the Octograph move. And yeah, despite trying to get Pikachu to relax, it doesn't work, and Octolock ends up just beating up Pikachu, and Pikachu goes down. So now Ash only has Lucario now. So it's Lucario versus Octolock. The final confrontation. There's been a lot of build-up to this moment. In the previous 2 battles, Octolock really pressured Ash's Pokemon, defeating Riolu once, and then fighting it to a draw. Now that's a Lucario, they can face off one final time. But at this point in the battle, Lucario is taking considerable damage, and Ash knows that Lucario will be at a huge disadvantage if Octolock isn't taken care of quick enough. So he's basically got to take care of this Pokemon in one attack. And that's exactly what Ash does. Lucario uses Aura Sphere, Octolock uses Aqua Break, and yeah, Lucario overpowers Octolock and defeats it. That's literally it. Moving on, we are finally at the final phase of this battle. Lucario versus Machamp again, but with a twist. Bee decides to Gigantamax her Machamp, and in retaliation to this, Ash Mega Evolves as Lucario, and I have to say, it is so satisfying seeing Ash Mega Evolve a Pokemon. Even though it was a bit lame how he attained the Lucarionite, I'll let that slide for right now because this moment was awesome to see. And my goodness, it looked great. So anyways, we're at the final phase. Gigantamax Machamp versus Mega Lucario. Now this phase of the battle is super intense, and it's crazy to see these two Pokemon trading blows. They both manage to land an attack on one another, but Machamp ends up basically pressuring Lucario with a bunch of punches, to the point where probably any other Pokemon would have gone down. But Lucario manages to withstand this, which is crazy to see. And using this opportunity after Machamp is kind of, I guess, not weakened, probably a little exhausted after using that move, Lucario jumps up Gigantamax Machamp and basically runs up to its face and blasts him with an Aura Spear, which was just awesome to see. And as a result, Machamp reverts back to its normal state. And despite taking an Aura Spear to the face, Machamp is still able to continue fighting. Even though it's probably almost out of HP, it is still willing to fight. And Lucario is in danger now because Machamp has an easier chance of getting a critical hit on Lucario at this point. And since Lucario has taken a ton of damage, one hit could be enough for Lucario to be out of commission and for Ash to lose the battle. So they end up clashing one more time, with Machamp using Bullet Punch to rapidly strike against Lucario, with Lucario using Force Palm to clash against the Bullet Punches. And in the middle of this clash, Lucario learns a new move on the spot, Steel Beam, and lands a direct hit on Machamp, knocking it out. And as a result, Ash has finally defeated Bee. It took 3 battles. After losing once and drawing with Bee the second time, Ash is finally victorious against Bee in the Hyper class, and as a result, moves up to the 36th spot in the Hyper class. Nice going, Ash. And with that, Bee has now grown to respect Ash and acknowledges him as a trainer and as a rival, and vows to battle him again, as she's not going to easily throw in the towel. She still wants to battle against Leon one day, so she definitely wants to face off against Ash again. As the two bump fists, the episode comes to an end. So overall, I thought this was a fine battle. I will say compared to last week's episode, I'm a bit mixed on how certain things were handled within this part of the battle, and it also affects last week's episode as a result. So let's start with the things I liked in this episode, for sure. Again, like with the previous episode and then the battle with Volkner, I love how they're switching out Pokemon constantly and using different strategies. And in Ash's case, he's coming up with strategies on the fly. Like that strategy with Pikachu against Hawlucha was awesome. I love that moment. I love that type of stuff. And then the stuff that was going on against Gigantamax Machamp versus Mega Lucario was just awesome. Definitely the highlight of this episode. I mean, everything going on there was just awesome. Lucario climbing up Gigantamax Machamp was just awesome to see. Basically hitting him in the face with an Aura Spear was awesome to see. Learning to move on the fly, just awesome. And not to mention I like Leon's commentary throughout the episode too. It's nice to see him over here watching our boy Ash move up in the ranks in the Pokemon World Championships. So that's cool. But there were a few things I was a little bit underwhelmed with this battle. First, we'll start with the one that I'm least offended by, and that's Sirfetch'd. At least I will say that Sirfetch'd did a decent job throughout this battle. It is disappointing, in my opinion, that he didn't take a single W here. And just like with Lucario, he deserved to win as well. Like, he lost against Hawlucha, and yeah, I mean, I guess one of his Pokemon had to take an L here because Lucario did have to get revenge on Octolok, and I'm going to get to you in a second. But definitely had to take revenge on Octolok since that was Lucario's main rival the first 2 battles and the wall that he needed to overcome. So I guess one of Ash's Pokemon had to take the L. It just had to be Sirfetch'd. I know Pikachu's level 1000, so I think it would offend people if Pikachu was the one that took the L here, the absolute L. But, you know, whatever. Now, moving on to the more egregious stuff in this battle, while I enjoyed Pikachu's strategy against Hawlucha, what the heck was Ash thinking against Octolock? Why did he have Pikachu use Quick Attack on Octolock, knowing from his previous encounters with this Pokemon that it's a dangerous Pokemon to be facing up front? In his last battle, he came up with a strategy off screen with Riolu to get away from that. But after this time, you'd think that Ash would realize that getting too close with Octolock, especially with Pikachu here, wasn't going to work. And then it also irritated me because at that point it was game over. There was no interesting strategies. He tried to have Pikachu relax its muscles, but it didn't do anything. B just had Octolock just beat the hell out of Pikachu, and that was it. So that part was also underwhelming. I think that was even more insulting in my opinion. Like, you come up with a great strategy against Hawlucha, but then you just allow Pikachu to just get jobbed here. I don't know, maybe I'm ranting for no reason over a fictional show, but it just doesn't make sense to me. You have something brilliant with Pikachu versus Hawlucha, and then you just throw that away against Octolock. What the heck? Now, moving on to my final issue with this battle, and it's probably my biggest complaint in this entire battle: Lucario and Grapplock's final encounter. Now, like I mentioned earlier in the episode review, there was a lot of build-up leading to this moment. Obviously, we know that Riolu got absolutely destroyed by Grapplock in their first encounter, and in the second fight, they fought to a draw, with Ash and Lucario, or Riolu at the time, using a pretty interesting strategy to break out of its Grapplock. That was cool. So you would expect their rivalry to come to a satisfying conclusion in their final battle here. And nope, not at all. This whole moment and this whole battle here was rushed in my opinion, because Ash had to finish off Grapplock with one attack and then move on to the bigger foe being Machamp. Now look, I don't have an issue with Machamp being B's secret ace over Grapplock, but at the same time, there was a lot of build-up here that just feels unsatisfying in my opinion, because Lucario ended their rivalry with a single attack. And you're telling me that after going through this entire battle, with Grapplock not really taking too much damage throughout the battle, it takes this one hit and that's enough to take it out? I don't know about you guys, but I thought that was very underwhelming, because they built up a huge wall for Ash to overcome with the first two battles, and you're telling me that this one attack was enough to take out Grapplock? I don't know about you guys, but that just is so underwhelming in my opinion. Like, I was looking forward to this final battle and what Lucario would come up with to face off against Grapplock to overcome this wall. And this is it? Now look guys, I don't want to complain all day about this episode. There's a lot that I liked in this battle, but there's a lot of stuff that I felt could have been done a lot better, as you can tell from me ranting for like the last 3 minutes. And as a result of some of the things that happened in today's episode, it's going to probably affect last week's episode's rating as well. As I think now, looking in hindsight, there are things that definitely could have been done better with last week's episode to fit this overall 2-episode battle. And yeah. So here's a few things I think could have been done better within this battle. So first off, Sirfetch'd definitely needed to take a W here. As I indicated earlier, Sirfetch'd taking an L here was kind of disappointing considering it already took an L against Hawlucha, and as a result it feels unsatisfying. So in the first part of this episode, have a lot of the same things that happened in that episode happen, but also have a Pokemon take an L. And in this case be a Hawlucha, give Sirfetch'd the win. And then maybe we start out episode 2 with Octolock taking out Sirfetch'd, maybe not immediately, but they fight for a decent amount of time, then Octolock wins. Then Pikachu jumps in and does pretty well for the most part, but ultimately ends up losing as well. Not in the stupid way that it lost in today's episode, but we'll just say that after a while they're battling and Octolock ends up, or B uses a strategy with Octolock and takes out Pikachu. I know people might be a little salty there, but I don't know. I feel like it'd be more satisfying for Sirfetch'd to get a W in this scenario. And then we move on to Lucario versus Octolock, and this is extended, longer than what we got in today's episode. So it's a decent length. Maybe it's like about as long as how long Pikachu faced off against Hawlucha and Graplock in the episode today. And then Lucario satisfyingly defeats Octolock. Then we move on to the final part, and that goes unchanged. I don't know, those are just some of my thoughts. If you think that things could have been done differently in this battle, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, but those are just a few thoughts that I have. But anyways, guys, I'm going to end off the video there. So overall, still an enjoyable episode, but it has its flaws. I'm actually downgrading last week's episode to a 9 out of 10 as a result. And this week's episode to, I'd say it's between a 6.5 and 7 out of 10 episode. Just my opinion. I know some people are probably going to disagree with me, but there were some choices made in the battle today that I don't think were for the best. Just my opinion, though. And I think things could have definitely been done better here. But still, an enjoyable battle and a pretty good conclusion for the most part to Ash and B's rivalry. So guys, in the comment section down below, post your thoughts. What do you think of this episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What do you think about Mega Lucario and Ash actually being able to Mega Evolve a Pokemon? Pretty awesome, right? He's got Mega Evolution, he's got Z moves, he can Gigantamax his Pikachu, and probably a certain other Pokemon that definitely needs some spotlight soon. But more on that later. But guys, that's all I got for today's video. It's definitely been a long one, so let's end it off here. Have a good night or day wherever you're at, and peace.